students, welcome to class. I'm Miss Katie, That Vegan Teacher, and today we're going to be looking at a channel called The Offensive Tranny. That's right. This is a guy who used to be a girl, is now a guy, and is now speaking out against many people in the trans community. It's pretty interesting, so let's have a look.
Drink soy milk, oat milk, rice milk, almond milk. Don't steal milk from a cow. Be vegan, start right now. Follow that vegan teacher. She will show you how.
All right, let's have a look at what's going on here. Now, the title says I was wrong about J.K. Rowling. Let's see.
He has had a history of being extremely transphobic, I've heard.
You've heard, so what, can you give me an example?
Oh yes, that's his name, Marcus. Right.
There's a video of a teacher dissecting all the lies about J.K. Rowling, about her being transphobic, and it's going super viral. Let's watch.
Okay.
She's had a pretty controversial past. I just want to know, what are your thoughts on it? Do you still like her work, despite her bigoted opinions?
So let's get specific though. You're starting with the conclusion that given her bigoted opinions, does she have bigoted opinions?
Excellent.
Yes.
The reason why the student phrased it like that is because he doesn't have the truth on his side.
Martin's
Also, if
right.
you call someone a bigot, they're most likely not one.
She has had a history of being extremely transphobic, I've heard.
Hey, you've heard, so what, can you give me an example?
If you look
Hearsay.
at her Twitter, I think you could see a few things.
You think, but you don't know.
Right.
Well, that's embarrassing.
All right, so Martin's making some great points here, and so is the teacher. I have also been called all kinds of names, and nobody can really find any evidence of it. And I've also heard some people saying terrible things about Martin here. But what I've seen about Martin so far is that he seems to be a pretty well-balanced guy. I don't know if he's vegan yet, but most good people are on their way to being vegan or are already vegan, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was already vegan.
Do you know what it means to be extremely transphobic? My personal opinion is, it's when you unalive trans people just because they're trans. But you think writing tweets is an extremely transphobic act. Okay, it perfectly shows how these words, transphobic, homophobic, mean absolutely nothing. They mean nothing and anyone can be it.
One of these tweets that she came up with in 2019, she said,
Dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who'll have you, live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real?
Oh, I remember seeing that tweet by J.K. Rowling, and I see nothing transphobic about that at all. You guys, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And by the way, if you haven't yet liked this video, make sure that you press the like button. And if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe, because we are going to be reviewing all kinds of interesting people here. Not just vegans, also people who are transphobic.
Hashtag I stand with Maya, hashtag this is not a drill. And J.K. Rowling is talking about a woman who got fired for stating that sex is real. Literally for saying the grass is green.
Okay, so this is interesting. So Martin really does believe that there are two genders. There are males and females, and Martin believes that if you are a trans person and you are serious about being a trans person, you will do everything possible to try to mingle in with that crowd. So he tries very hard to look as masculine as he can. And I think if you would, I don't know if you agree with me, but to me, I would never guess in a million years that this guy was born as a female.
So you find that bigoted?
it was deemed transphobic.
By who?
Exactly.
Or is it called to whom in this case? Who are those judges who determine what's transphobic and what's not? And who elected them?
You find that transphobic?
I don't really have an opinion on it. I'm just going with what a lot of other people have said.
Let's not go with what other people are saying. Let's try and learn how to critically think. You see?
Yes, critical thinking, it is so important. This is why we have so many people who continue to eat animals, because they do not do critical thinking when it comes to what they are eating. They don't do research, they simply go by hearsay. A lot of them think actually plants feel pain, which we know that they don't. And a lot of them continue these rumors about protein, about iron, all kinds of things. And then they spread lies about vegans because they don't think for themselves. So yeah, I think this is great. Critical thinking skills are so vital and should be taught starting in pre-kindergarten.
See anything problematic, just regarding other people's opinions.
Well said, well said.
Well said,
If
yes.
I was the teacher, though, I would have said, so what you're saying is you can't think for yourself.
Yeah, that's what some teachers like me say on TikTok all the time. You got to be able to think for yourself. Good job, Martin. So speaking of this, Martin, if you happen to see this video, I hope that you will think for yourself and watch the important documentary called Dominion on YouTube. Every vegan has seen it, and many, many people who are not vegan or who were not vegan have seen it, and it has helped them to change their minds. Again, it's called Dominion, and you can go to it by just typing in Watch Dominion on YouTube. And what I suggest that you do, Martin, you and everyone watching, is before you start to watch the documentary, put a camera on the side, like your phone there, and just set it up to film your own face. Then have a box of Kleenex beside you, and then see how many Kleenexes you use. By the end of the documentary, show your fans, your followers here, the video of you watching it, and then tell them what you learned and how you felt. I would appreciate that, Martin.
This has nothing to do with critical thinking, in my opinion. It's about actually thinking. It's about using your brain on like a basic level. How can you talk shit about a woman participating in ruining her reputation when you have no idea why she's a bad person? If you're like 14, different story.
Exactly, he's absolutely right. You see, I have spoken out against some things, and people think that this means that I am transphobic. What I have said is that I am against, or just personally don't like, people who spend too much time on their appearances. People who wear wigs and fake eyelashes and fake nails and fake heels and layers of so much makeup that you can't even recognize them. They look almost clown-like. That is what I do not like. I mean, if I'm confronted with whether the person is a man or a woman, somebody who dresses like that, I don't feel comfortable because I'm like, where are you under all of that? Who is the real you?
If a woman says there's a difference between men and female, I think that's what she's saying by attacking someone for stating that sex is real. Is that transphobic to you?
To me, no. Stating that sex is real is not transphobic. It's just a fact of life. It exists.
Exactly, so what's the problem? The depressing part is the student still doesn't get it, so the teacher has to keep going and wake him up a little bit.
So is there anything you disagree with in that tweet?
In that tweet, I can't really see anything that I myself disagree with, but I can see why some people would think, oh, this is offensive. We can't have that here.
Why? Why do you understand? If you don't think there's something wrong with this tweet, why do you understand
He is right.
how some people believe otherwise? It doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. Marcus, perfect. Excellent. You're doing a great job here.
Stating that sex is real doesn't offend anyone. Trans people wouldn't exist if biological sex didn't exist. Because how can trans people transition if biological sex
Exactly. How can they transition to something if that something never existed in the first place?
doesn't exist? What do they transition from? From what to what? Stating that biological sex doesn't exist is the most invalidating thing to say to trans people. Because the entire reason trans people exist, I'm talking about the real ones here, is due to gender dysphoria. You know, the mental disorder that describes the unbearable pain someone feels about their biological sex. How can trans people feel dysphoric, have this discomfort, if biological sex doesn't exist? Moving on, now the student claims that she wrote an apology tweet. I respect every trans person's right to live any way that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. At the same time, my life has been shaped by being female. I do not believe it's hateful to say so. It's not.
Do you see anything problematic there?
She's apologizing, so no, not really. If I could read it again.
She's not apologizing. What are you talking about?
Exactly. How does he see an apology from that?
You admitted yourself. She didn't say or write anything wrong. I know I'm being impatient, and he is changing his mind a little bit in this video, but I just still don't understand why he doesn't get it yet.
Wow, Marcus, welcome to the club. I am on TikTok live for several hours every day, and I get the same comments over and over again. You're just at the beginning. You have not experienced being on this end of it and listening to the garbage and the lies that are repeated so often. I am not exaggerating if I have made the same speech like 3,000-4,000 times. So yeah, but still, Martin, you know that you need to be vegan and you need to come out of the closet as a vegan. Remember, Martin, you were born vegan. You were born never wanting to hurt animals, and all we are asking people to do is to go back to their roots and be vegan again, the way that you were born. If you saw an animal suffering when you were little, you always wanted to help that animal. When you were little, it wasn't your fault that your parents took away your vegan virginity. You didn't know when you opened your mouth the difference between squished up carrots or squished up peas or a squished up animal. So we're not saying that you should hold your parents accountable now because they just didn't know better. However, when you know better, you can do better. And if you're not yet vegan, Martin, you and your audience members and also people watching me right now, I encourage you, do better. Do the research, use your critical thinking skills, come out of the closet as a vegan. I guess I'm going to listen to a little bit more of this.
At the beginning of this conversation, you said, given the fact that J.K. Rowling is transphobic, do you think that that was the best way to phrase?
No, I feel like an idiot now.
Oh, that is so great. You know, it takes a big person, a brave person, a kind person, and a smart person to admit that they were wrong. Now, I personally get emails every day from people who say that to me too. When they have actually watched the documentary Dominion, which once again, I'm asking you, Martin, if you haven't seen it yet, or everybody else, to watch that documentary and then speak out and say what you saw. Tell us the facts about how the animals are treated and what you will do going forward to make this world a better place. How will you come out of the closet? When will your Happy Vegan Declaration Day be? Hopefully soon.
Class, there's been quite a few people in there who have been saying like, oh, she's transphobic. Until today, I haven't really thought about it because I just believe like, oh, there's 5 people saying it. It must be correct. Yeah.
You're making it worse, but I respect and I appreciate your honesty. I actually mean it. I'm not joking in this case. As you all know, it is better to be open and honest about your ignorance instead of hiding it and accusing other people of being stupid and ignorant. I truly hope he has learned a lot from this conversation. I also hope a lot of people who've watched this video have learned a lot. I think what the teacher did is a great way to debate woke people, the ideologues, who keep repeating the same lies over and over again.
He is totally right. And when it comes to veganism, I completely agree. It is the same thing. I see the parallels there. And that is why I say that all members of the LGBTQ who claim to be oppressed should also think about the victims that are in their esophagus, that are in their intestines, and that they are shitting out in the toilet every day. These are victims who didn't want to die. Animals are sentient beings who have a right to live. So, I want to thank you so much today, Martin. This was a great video. If you guys have enjoyed this, give a comment below. Follow the Offensive Tranny's channel if you like, and write a comment down there. And make sure that you also remind him and his followers to watch the important documentary called Dominion Movement over on YouTube. Thanks so much for being here. Coming up on screen are going to be a bunch of other videos. Make sure you click on them and subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet done so. And I will see you all soon. Or hopefully over on TikTok. My account over there has over 914,000 followers right now. And it is called Music by That Vegan Teacher. I go live there every day. Bye for now.
Let's follow that vegan teacher on YouTube right now. Let's help her save every chicken, pig, and cow. Let's follow that vegan teacher on YouTube right now. Let's put our empathy into